Trying to hop on here and it wasn't letting me join.
Okay, well, no worries. Let's start. A lot of people are interested in you because it's like such an inspiring story. And, with COVID, people feeling depressed at home, I think we need these moments where we could share inspiring stories like yours that could give hope to some people, that you keep on going no matter what those bitches say. So, yeah.
100%. I was in a car accident November 21st, 2016. I was headed to a customer's house when a semi came behind me on a gravel road, and I thought he would have backed off. I hit my brakes, and before I knew it, he went to go past me, sideswipe me. I flew off the road into the ditch, up a snowbank, airborne to the other side of the road, and he never even stopped to, see if I was alive, conscious, or
So it was a
anything
hit
like
and
that.
run.
Yeah,
Oh my God. My God. You know, what do you have to say to people like, about like how you got out of that, mental state? Because obviously you must have been in shock, traumatized, you know, fucking furious. So what do you say to people like on how you dealt with all those emotions inside? Because some people would have harmed themselves or been put into an extreme depression.
100%. So number one, the airbag somehow didn't go off, so I got knocked out on impact as the truck landed because I went like Dukes of Hazzard to the other side of the road. I was in a truck as well. So, I mean, I got woken up by a farmer that found me unconscious. And because when I landed, I went through a barbed wire fence, all his cattle's getting out. He's mad. He probably thinks, like, who's this young punk that, because kids, drink and drive and stuff in the country. But then once he figured it out, that I wasn't drinking, I wasn't texting or anything like that. I was completely unaware of what's going on. I'm seeing triple. He's trying to fight me, and I'm telling him I don't know where I am,
Oh my
what's
God.
going on. And he says, "Do you want me to call anybody?" And I remembered
Yes.
my boss, right? So he called my boss, and he said, "Hey, my real name's Joshua." So he's like, "Yo, I'm here with Joshua." He said, "No, no, no, forget all that." He said, "I just want to know two things. Is my truck okay, and is the stock damaged?" And I'd worked with this guy for, 4 years, traveling all over the world for work, unfortunately, and, sacrificed my health, my relationship with my family and extended family. I didn't have a girlfriend because, I mean, I was just everywhere, from
You were
town
always
to
on the
town.
road.
Yeah, and then I was running a crew. Like I took his company from making a few $1,000s a month to a multi-million dollar operation. So I figured, I'd helped him do all this stuff. We were 50-50 business partners at that time. It was only verbal, and all he cared
Wow.
about was, is my truck okay, and is my stock damage? And at the end of the day, I always wanted to do something other than a 9 to 5 because I didn't want to be a number. But in that moment, I realized that I was just as replaceable as the person at Walgreens.
So why didn't the guy call like you're in Canada, right?
Yeah, I'm in Canada. I'm in
Why
Regina,
didn't
Saskatchewan.
why didn't they call the what would be the ambulance or police there? I mean, that's a crime scene basically where, evidence could be tampered with. Why did they call your boss and not I I mean that part like stops me because I'm like that's an active crime scene. They need to see the evidence, see the car, take down, arrest who did this. I don't know if Canada's different, but that's like the first thing in my head. Your boss? What? That's
I
ridiculous.
I think it was just the fact that he asked me, "Do you want me to call anybody?" And that was, the first person that I told him to call. And then
So
after, go ahead.
yeah, go on. So you considered this guy basically family to want to call that as your first contact. Well, now you know verbal doesn't matter. Have it in writing. Even if you have it on a napkin, believe it or not, it upholds. But it's like, wow, fuck him. But look where you are now, right? I mean, it freed you basically. In a weird way, I know it's awful what happened, but that fan edit on your page, where you start off, physical therapy, it's so beautiful, seeing how, like, at the end, like Forrest Gump, like you're running, it's amazing, but like freeing in so many ways. And then you talked to me a little bit on DM about how people are shaming you and saying you're lying and this, and it's like, what do you have to say about that? Like,
It's crazy that people would, even say stuff like that, like, tell me to go kill myself. They don't know the
here,
things
here.
I've gone through,
Listen,
mentally
this
and physically.
speaking of that, did you know? I don't know if I shared with you. Somebody the other day in Australia, they called in my precinct, which means they had to literally look up my address, look up the precinct, that I was a minor trying to commit suicide. I had 8 cops here.
Wow.
So, like, I completely, understand where you're coming from, because nobody should have that power. Nobody should be able to do that to somebody. And, to say, oh, that's fake, that's not real. Oh, he can walk, blah, blah. It's like they're just jealous of how far you have come and how you've been able to overcome everything. And, I think even in the comments, people are like, he's so inspiring. Really?
And going back to your other question, how I
Yeah.
made it through mentally. So, I mean, when I was in the hospital, because basically what happened was I was in that vehicle. Before he called my boss, he had basically almost tried to drag me out of the vehicle, which is something you don't do after someone's just been in a
Yeah.
car accident. And he tried to put me on my feet to literally fight me, like fist fight me. And I fell to the ground, realizing in that moment I'd gone my whole life being able to walk, no problem. And to be honest, I was not grateful for it. I never woke up in the morning and said, I'm grateful, I have all my limbs and I can walk and stand and run. I took it for granted, until that moment where it was just taken from me in an instant without warning.
Wow. That is absolutely insane. I mean, you know, wow, in my family, one of my mom's friends, he was in a car accident. He was working on some movie, Blood Ties, and he spoke to my mom last, and it was all over the news. He got in a car accident. The girl was looking for her cigarette. His the steering wheel went into his lower half, and they couldn't remove him. Otherwise, he'd be completely dead. So it almost like a tourniquet kept him together. So it's
Wow.
like traumatic. And like my dad, he had spinal fusion, so it's very hard to walk. He had no spinal fluid in his back. So with everything you're saying, like, that's why I totally wanted you on here, because I feel like there's so many things that are similar that I can relate to. I mean, you know people think like, oh, he got in a car accident, whatever. No, your life was taken from you in many ways, and you made the choice to make it into something else. So I see you have in the back the Walking Legend. Can you tell me, like, about, like, your branding, basically, because that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. So, number one, so I got driven to the hospital by this farmer that said, basically, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to drive you to the hospital, and left me on the ground because he didn't want to talk to police. He didn't want to be involved
That's odd.
whatsoever. It was really odd. So,
Hmm.
it was almost like a scene in a movie. The car pulls up, the doors open, and he yells as loud as he can and leaves me there.
Do you think that the farmer was, like, involved with, like, the guy you were working for, and it was set up so that they could fire you?
I don't know, or he knew the person that hit me and didn't, want to, because I mean, farmers are really close to each other. So if that guy was local, he wasn't from the States or whatever,
Mhm.
chances are he probably knew who did it and, didn't want to throw that person under the bus,
Wow.
unfortunately
Okay,
screwing me
keep
over in
going
the
though.
process. So, took me to the hospital. So now, I'm laying in this bed in a neck brace, with basically, tears of uncertainty in my eyes and wondering, like, what am I going to do now? Because I've sacrificed the past 4 years of my life to get to where I am now, and it got me in this neck brace. And I sacrificed, my health and everything. And so what am I going to do? I don't have a plan B because I was, all in on it. And I was scrolling down on the Facebook feed and Instagram feed, as many of us do sometimes.
Yeah.
And I saw this video of a guy that I grew up with in high school, and he's traveling the world and all this stuff. And I figured I have nothing to lose. Why don't I tap into this webinar? And I started watching this webinar, and the nurse beside me that was doing her practicum said, "Hey, I'll sign up as your first sale. You have nothing to lose. You're going to be here for at least a month. So you might as well try to make money." Well, in my first week of starting something, I had no experience, previous doing, because online marketing compared to, like door to door or in person
Yeah.
selling is two entirely different things.
Yeah.
So
E-commerce.
I made my first $1,500 online in a hospital bed. And then, since then I
Wow.
went on to make multiple six figures. So
That's pretty amazing. So, The Walking Legend, your brand basically, what do you offer to everybody, who follows you and stuff like that? Because, like, I'm Lily Jean Beauty, so I offer my tutorials, my, insight on beauty and stuff like that. So, what would you say would be the parallel for you?
I just teach people business skills. So things that you wouldn't learn in school, like whether it's financial literacy or online marketing, or, how to market yourself. So how the Walking Legend, came to be as my brand, it didn't happen overnight. It was something that I wanted to do for a really long time. And I didn't have a name that would, represent me, and something that, whether I was in a walker for the rest of my life, or whether I didn't have the walker later on, I could
Wow.
still grow the brand. It wouldn't be like, okay, now I have to rebrand because I don't have the walker. And one thing about the accidents, the doctors told me I would never walk again, even with a walker, because I said, oh, what about with a walker? Could I do that? Said, basically, just lay there, let us give you morphine, Toradol, take away, the migraines you're getting, the back pain you have, and
Coming from
just get
fun.
comfortable.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, so just get comfortable and give up. And in that, just, that moment, I had to make a decision. It was fight or flight. And I chose to not believe the doctor, because I believe that if your attitude is right, the facts don't count, because what you think are facts are just other people's opinions of you. And in that case, it was like the programming that I had since I was a kid to always follow people who are authority figures. Like, he has a white coat, he went to school, he has a degree, he must know what he's talking about. And then, basically over a matter of 8 months, I don't know if you saw that video on my timeline, or be at the very bottom, but basically I took my first steps on a treadmill with
Yes, I
my
did see.
my physiotherapist, holding me up. So it wasn't all on my own, but that
You
to
did it
me
though.
was like, wow. Or
Yeah.
even in the hospital, I think it was like the last 2 days I was there, I was able to stand with the walker for 3 seconds before falling and knocking myself out. And the whole time I was there, the nurses didn't like me because they would tell me to stay in bed. And as soon as they would leave, I would try to stand, and usually knock myself out, because I was determined. I don't
But
care
you
how
did
long
it.
this takes. Yeah. And I mean,
Wow.
now I can walk with a walker. That one day I ran for 10 seconds and then fell. And the next step is to get rid of the walker, completely. And I don't know how long that will take, but I still have the belief within myself. A lot of people around me, supported me. So how the brand The Walking Legend happened was I just started traveling because now I was doing what I wanted to do before, but before I was traveling just for work. So now it's like I'm earning an income online. So now I have the freedom to, manifest anything, I want
Wow.
to do. And I started connecting with like-minded individuals. And long story short, what happened was I met a guy by the name of Gene Simmons. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Isn't
He's
that the Queen or Kiss or something?
Yeah, from Kiss. Yeah, from Kiss. You're close.
The big tongue.
Yeah, yeah, the long tongue. So basically I went to his concert, and all year I kept saying in my head like I'm gonna go to that concert because I was traveling all over the world, and I kept seeing these advertisements, and I said I don't know what city I'm gonna see it in, but I'm gonna be there because it was their end of the road tour, like their very last tour, and then they were gonna retire. And basically, the night before the concert, unfortunately, I found out my good friend Jeremy passed away from cancer. And I was like, wow, I'm gonna have to go to Vancouver for this funeral. And as I'm sitting in the airport, an ad pops up that, Kiss is the night before the funeral. So I just decided last minute I'm gonna go to this concert. And when I got there, it was like obstacles. I mean, if you're trying to grow in life, you're always going to have obstacles. It doesn't matter what level of success you hit.
Agree.
So it's like I got there, I paid a lot of money for these tickets, and the first thing they say to me, no, you can't go down on the floor. You're handicapped. You have to go to the handicap area in the nosebleeds. And I said, oh, really? I said I'm handy capable, so I'm gonna go down there. And the guy looked at me like he was confused and basically said to me, you have to sign a waiver, and if
Yeah, you
there's
could be liable to get hurt.
a fire, like
Yeah.
you're on your own and you can't sue us. And I said, whatever, I didn't sign anything. And I kept walking. So I get down there, they take my walker. I'm sitting there. I mean, the people of the stadium treated me, so well. They're taking my card, they're going to buy me a shirt, food, whatever I want,
Ah,
which was amazing. So getting to the concert, what happened is there was a part in the concert where I'm sitting like this, sitting down, everybody's standing up, and Gene kind of looks at me and makes fun of me, crossing his arms and mocking me, but doesn't realize the situation.
that
And
you're disabled. Yeah.
then he realized, and right before the concert was gonna end, he pointed right at me and flicked this pick and was waiting to watch me pick it up. So I tried to like lean off my chair, and somebody else got up and grabbed the pick before I could. So then the lights go out. So all I'm thinking in my head is, I want to pick, I want to pick. And then, long story short, security's pushing me out. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if he came down there and I met him? And basically, they're pushing me like, you got to get out of here. They're getting radioed. I just thought to myself, what if I go to look at my right, and because the elevators were broken, they had to take me through backstage. He's coming. They pushed me right into him, and ended up connecting with him. And basically, in my head, the whole time, I'm thinking, I want to pick. If you've gone on my timeline, you'll see we got a picture. So I was thinking, I want to pick, but not, the pick that I got. And basically, when I got a picture with him, I went from, like this fan to almost part of the family. Like the things we were talking about, I'm hugging his wife, like literally I'm like, I don't know, a nephew or something. It was a magical experience. And when I'm about to take the picture with him, he says to me, "Oh, we got to pop your collar." And my phone dies. And there's
Oh,
a female security guard, and she basically says, "Oh, don't worry. I can take the picture and then I can just get your number." And they kind of like clowned on her. They were like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute." They're like, "You're just gonna get his number and take a picture? That's a little creepy." And it was kind of a funny experience. and he told me to pop my collar and said, "You're a rock star and a legend. Remember that." And he said, "If I
The
or
walking legend.
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't for you." And then basically, I told that story to one of my friends named Jamie Brock, and we were all in Miami, and we were kind of just like masterminding together, and there were things from that story that I told, like, he said, "You're a walking legend," but he didn't say you're the walking legend. So they kind of, their ideas combined with his ideas is how, it came to be. And then I
Oh,
just
wow.
quit going by my real name. And anytime somebody asked me what my name was or they introduced me to someone, they would just introduce me as, the walking legend, and things blew up. Like, I went from growing up, in all over, I guess, Canada, but living in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, to all of a sudden being in P. Diddy's backyard. And I'm like, what is even
Wow.
happening? It was magical. And then, I mean, even right now, we're on this live. I didn't know I was going to do this, at the beginning of my journey and be able to share it to inspire people. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe you can do something, you can achieve literally anything. Like, I was in a movie called Cage Fighter last year, and literally the night before that happened, I just thought to myself, I want to be in a movie. I was watching something on Netflix, and the next day, my friend was showing up at my door. His name's John, and he was like, "Hey, you have 30 minutes to get ready. We're going to the set." All of a sudden, I'm meeting Chuck Liddell and, all these big stars. But I mean, really, celebrities are just people, just like, you and me. It's just,
I
they just
think
have,
that's very important because a lot of times, people who are Instagram stars, even a singer, emerging from SoundCloud, people forget, the space, and then they forget, we're human too. When you try to belittle cyberbully, we read this stuff. It's simply not okay. So the other part of your story, where you were telling me people were like, "Oh, it's not that bad what he's going through." What was going through your head when you were getting DMs like this and people telling you to harm yourself?
I felt really attacked. And also, at first, I mean, I just wanted to fire back at them, and I kind of held back and was like, it's not worth it, because they have no idea what I've gone through. They're just going off the perception of what they see online. They don't hang out with me on a day-to-day basis, and they haven't seen or even heard, some of the things I've gone through. And I've been through two car accidents. So there were two times that I got to the point where I almost didn't need the walker, and I went to go visit my friend Josh Quay, aka Mr. Music 360 on Instagram, and we were headed to somewhere to get something printed in another business we're part of. And basically, before we knew it, we were listening to Post Malone's "Wow" song mixed with 50 Cent's, I think it was Candy Shop, and it was a sweet remix. And we kind of just got lost in the moment. And all of a sudden, these two people pulled in front of us, slammed on their brakes, and we stopped probably like this close to rear ending them, and thought, okay, we're fine. We looked at each other and kind of just laughed. And it wasn't that we thought it was funny, it was just like, wow, that was close.
Oh
And then
my
all of a
God.
sudden, a 10-ton truck came behind and crushed the BMW, pushing us, into those people. So I restarted everything again. And here I am laying in a neck brace again, thinking, how did I get to
God.
this situation? I was so close.
Wow. It's a pause because it's like, you've gone through so many of these circumstances and still you're here. And I think that's part of what's inspiring is that no matter what happened, even it happening again to you, you got right back up. You said, "Fuck you, bitches. I'm starting again." And I think that's like amazing. It's not something many people could do. Many people hide behind, "I'm depressed now. I don't want to do anything now." And it's like, You looked at depression and said, I don't think so. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And I think you've even inspired me so much. It's amazing.
I really appreciate that. And I mean, my mindset combined with massive action and, just taking care of my health on another level after that, I mean, really got me to where I was. Even when I was in the hospital, they, they have you on morphine. You're in and out of consciousness all the time. They get you hooked on it and then basically say, okay, we can do one of two things. So the amount that we're giving you, you can cut cold turkey and you're probably going to have withdrawals like, someone on heroin, like it's not going to be pretty. Or we can put you on another drug, wean you off this, and then we'll have to wean you off that later. I think it was called methadone. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. Like I already have this problem. You guys gave me it.
And you're going to give me another problem. Yeah.
And that's not a thing. And I had bleeding in my brain at the time.
Uh,
And so they kind of laughed at me because I said, well, I have this water and I'm going to drink it and it's going to help me cut cold turkey. They thought it was crazy. They're like, this is going to happen. And basically, I drank this water right here. It has molecular hydrogen in it. So basically, you drink the water and it's hydrating you way better than other water. And the reason why is because the molecules are a lot smaller, so it's penetrating your cells, and you don't have any of the fluoride or arsenic or all the other stuff that's normally in water, whether it's tap water, even, bottled water. And within, I think it was a week, I was completely off. I didn't have any withdrawals. I had maybe a few headaches here and there and sweats, but it wasn't anything, extreme.
well, I think that number one, some people are just predispositioned to be addicts. And I think that when you make it your moral choice to not be that, you won't be. Like my dad, he's not bad. And like you, they had to operate on his back, so he was on stuff. But if you make that decision and you don't have that predisposition, it's not going to happen. I think that uh, you with the water, for example, you put everything into this water, and symbolically it's almost like, this is my, I can do it. And again, you're, fuck you, bitch. Like this, I want you to raise that and be like, fuck you, bitch. Like that's your, there you
Fuck you, bitch.
yeah, there you go. So that is like your symbolic, like, you want to tell me I'm going to, have withdrawal? I don't think so. And I think that's amazing because you just put it somewhere else, but into something not harmful. And you were able to just go, uh-huh. I love that so much.
And I mean,
Like,
who doesn't drink water, right? It's like
exactly.
it's something everybody can benefit from because a lot of people are dehydrated and
Hey,
malnourished
yes,
because of the
yes,
stuff
yes,
they put
yes.
in our food and all that stuff. So it's like, drinking the water, I have more energy. I used to live off coffee and energy drinks, when I was doing the
Really?
door-to-door thing. Well,
Well, okay, you were
I,
up all the time though.
I didn't know any better. I was working 19, 20-hour days, and my boss would run us literally like what do you call it? Like a sweatshop. It was crazy. It's crazy
What
what
type
I've gone
of
through.
what type of goods, like what type of business were you in before you decided to create like this entrepreneurial marketing genius of the Walking Legend?
So I was selling indoor air purification systems. And in that presentation, we would say, what are three things that you need to live? Food, water, and air. So in my head, I was like, this is something I have to be involved with. And the beauty of it was before my accident, I actually had the machine that created this water, but I wasn't selling the product really. I'd sold a few people, but I was more focused on, building my door-to-door business, teaching my guys, making, money off them and helping them make money. Uh, just like one of my friends, you could look him up. we call him the deafpreneur, because he was sent into my office, and my boss pretty much said, hey, I'm giving you a promotion, and you and me are 50-50 partners now. You have to go in and fire this deaf kid. And I said, okay, I'm going to go and talk to him. And then I talked to him. I got to know him. His name's Bence Martin. And basically, after talking to him, I looked at his weakness as a strength. I was like, he can inspire so many people. And I said to my boss, give me a week with this guy, and if I can't get him to produce, like, I'll fire him. And within a few days, like, he was making sales, and even hitting, like, the charts. It's something
Wow.
that he never did before, because as one person said, he doesn't listen. I mean, another person looked at that as, oh, that's a strength, not, a weakness.
Wow. Wow. So I guess I want to go into the next part of everything, cyberbullying, because we talked a little bit about that. So I guess you start, share with people your experience and, what is happening to you, as of right now with what people are writing to you. Because it's not okay, and you deserve a voice on it. A lot of times people try to muffle me and say, oh, you should just take it. You're a public figure. And it's like, then you should be able to take when I say go suck your own dick, right?
Yeah,
You should.
100%. And it's like, as I was saying before, they're just going off the perception, and then basically
Mhm.
making assumptions about you or me from
Yep.
whatever they see on social media. But they don't realize is there's a big difference between reality and what we put on social media.
Yes.
Not saying that we're faking it or being somebody we're not, but there's two sides of us. It's almost like a professional wrestler. You have somebody like the Undertaker, somebody that most people know. He's one person in public compared to who he is when he's performing, basically.
When you're on, you're on.
Yeah.
I think, what's her name? Hunger Games, Jennifer Lawrence. A lot of people were mad at her a while ago because she was out with her boyfriend, at dinner, and fans came by and they were like, oh, can you sign this? And she said, hey, oh my God, you're watering.
Hey,
She
water
said,
is life.
she said, hey, I'm off. I'm not acting right now. Just go. And the big headline was, she's nasty to her fans. No. When she's chilling. And it's like, how dare you disrespect her space? If you want her to be good, then you need to let her mentally heal, because when we're on, even right now, I'm going to decompress when I'm done because it takes a lot out of you. It's a live performance nonetheless. So, yeah, I think you've hit it best when you say, there's reality and then there's, what they see.
Yeah, 100%. And they don't know what we go through on a day-to-day basis. Forget the haters, just the things you had to go through to
Yep.
even get to where you are now. You have
Yep.
to grow. It's not like, you
Yep.
know, you went to bed one night and woke up the next day and here you are here. You had to go through a lot of ups and downs, almost like a chart within, Forex, or the markets. Most people just go, okay, it was at here and it went through the roof, like Bitcoin or whatever. They don't see all the little ups and downs that led up,
Yes.
to that big
Well,
up spike.
okay. I mean, people with the markets with Robinhood, they don't really see what they did. Like, with GameStop, which I actually agree with GameStop, you made their stocks go up, down, up, down. That affects the gaming market. Holy shit, that makes everybody's stocks go down. But these people, they premeditatedly did this on Reddit, and it's like, nobody should have this power. Nobody should be able to do that because you love GameStop? Okay, you just made their stocks go fucking down, which means that globally that affects their sales, what they can buy. I mean, everything is a domino effect, and the internet makes everything seem so fantasy, right? Like everything's perfect. Like, oh, we're live. It was so simple to join, but was it so simple to join? We had to plan this together. We had to, remind people. We had
Promote.
to create like promotions. Just communicating with one another. Like, it's not that simple. It's simply not. And That's a very key point, poignant actually, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. People
So,
don't realize unless they've already been through that
yep.
experience, or even, I mean, for us, it's normal because I go live all the time. But somebody who's
Hmm.
never been live, like you get anxiety. You're thinking, what if I forget what I'm talking about? What am I going to talk about? You
Well, I
know?
think Barbara Streisand, she gets nervous every time she goes on stage, which is why she doesn't like to perform. So, you know, I think being a little nervous is good too. Like, being scared, like admitting you're scared is good. Being a little, uneasy, I think is good because it makes you think about what you're saying and what you're doing. Very important. All right. So, everybody down below, if you have any questions or want to ask the walking legend anything, definitely ask. Let's see. We got, oh, the feed is incredible. Let's see. You can also swipe up and see any you would like to answer too.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
hard to see it because they just come in so fast.
Lily should buy a filter. I think you should buy a filter. You have no profile picture. I don't like you anyway. Next,
Here come the
please,
haters, but that's okay
please,
because
please
haters
open
make
your
us
boobs.
famous.
Feed is incredible. Showing vulnerability. This is true. Vulnerability is something that, okay, I was pre-diabetic when I was younger, and I used to get picked on because I had a patch on my neck, and, I was puffy. And I grew above that and beyond that. So I was vulnerable to share that. And you know what happened? That got turned into I'm lying. That patch was put there on purpose.
Yeah,
Like
see,
my pain is your amusement. Thank you.
it's crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
people were brave enough or stupid enough, whichever, perception you have, to comment and say, how much did they pay you to fake this? As if somebody hit me up, said, hey,
On
I,
purpose.
I have
Wow.
this perfect persona of you. You're gonna fake it and we're gonna pay you X amount. Like I do act, but acting in that point where you're faking a
Ugh,
disability, like,
I'm so mad for you. Like, honestly, anybody who has the fucking audacity to even say that to you, I mean, you made the choice, with physical therapy. You made the choice to drink your water. You made the choice to create this brand. You made the choice to be right here today, with your hat, with your ring, everything. You made that choice. Could they? Could they ever survive that? No. The truth is, not one of them, not one iota of them could ever go through what you, or in your extreme case, what you have gone through at all. So, no, no, I hate them all.
100%. And most people would give up. Like
Yes.
my own dad told me, like, I don't know how you do it. He's like, if I went through that, like, I would probably give up. So when people come to me and complain about their day-to-day problems, or
It's like, okay.
I have anxiety or whatever, not to be an asshole, but I'm like, okay, it's kind of all in your head because I went through all this. I had that. I overcame it. I was on I forget, Ritalin. I was on Ritalin before my accident, and while I was in the hospital, they cut me cold turkey off that. So all I was doing is, drinking the water. And how I heard about the water is my friend Josh Quay, his dad was given 2 weeks to live, and we basically found out about the water and was like, what do we have to lose? He's already been given 2 weeks to live, and he started drinking the water, and within a month he was still alive. 2 months, he was still here. He lived for 3.5 years on top of what the doctors gave him. So
Wow.
when I saw what it did for him, I was like, I have to share this with people because you never know whose life you're going to impact. Just like with my story, somebody could be in a similar situation or even know somebody who's gone through stuff that I've gone through.
Mhm.
And this could be the difference of them, deciding to uh, live to fight another day or take their life or give up on their dreams or whatever, right? You don't know who you're going to
Shani,
impact.
Shani would like to know, particularly, what type of water would you recommend?
All right, so what I recommend is called electrolyzed reduced water, or Kangen water is also a name. And the reason why it's called Kangen is it means return to origin in Japanese. So if you go to Japan, there's like these these mineral pools. They call them miracle pools. There's
Oh yes,
stories of
I've seen a
people going
documentary on
there.
it.
Yeah, there's stories of people
They
sitting in
heal.
these miracle pools and healing their body. So basically the owner of the company found out about these miracle pools and found a way to build a machine so that people could have that on their counter or even under their sink and have that water every day. So it balances the pH of your body because most of us
Mm.
are very acidic, and being acidic causes, aging, cancer, diseases, and, other things that I won't say on the live that we're going through as a nation right now, you know?
Why can't you say it?
Oh, just I've been kicked off live for saying coronavirus before.
What? But I
Yeah,
have I have so many videos talking about donating to hospitals for the COVID, and no, you're not going to be kicked off.
yeah, I
No,
I got kicked off in the
please.
past, so I mean I'm still here. That's a good sign. But basically, I mean,
Please
y-
be vocal on it. You know, people must be educated about COVID because in New York, cases go up, they go down, they go up, but truthfully, I believe they're up. You know, when I go into CVS over here and I see that it's empty, I know imports are there's a problem. More people need to be vocal and, you know, wearing a mask. People are not around me. It's very dangerous, really is. I can't believe somebody would kick you off for spreading the truth. I mean, I don't understand that.
and I think the beauty, I mean, it's not a good thing that, people are getting COVID and stuff. I've had friends that have got it and luckily came out on the other side okay. But one thing it did is it was a wake up call for everybody. Anybody that didn't really care about their health, especially as, younger people, we don't think about health problems, and we kind of have a reactive situation. It's like, okay, if something bad happens, then I'm going to do something about it. Otherwise, I'm not taking a proactive approach and preventing. So, I mean, even by drinking the water, you have a 1% advantage of, having better health, having more energy. What's wrong with that?
So, you know, my grandpa and great grandfather, they had special rings that would be almost like spiritual. Can you like explain what the meaning is on your jewelry that you're
Yeah.
wearing?
So this is a lion. So it has a diamond in his mouth. I don't know if you can really see it.
No, I can.
So that to me is because I also have a lion on my arm.
Oh, neat work.
So this ring and this tattoo kind of go together. So basically, I knew a guy named Billy Johnston. He's no longer here. He was one of my mentors, and before my accident years ago, taught me how to bodybuild. And I really believe that he took me, from being a little boy to a man, and instilled things within me. How to treat women, how to hold yourself, how to dress, a lot of things, and also being yourself, because there's so many people out there trying to copy, their favorite celebrity, because we live in this flex culture, right? Some people are spending so much money on trying to look a certain way on social
Yeah.
media because they saw somebody else do it and going broke in the process, just trying to keep up with the trends. I need these millionaire sunglasses, and then all of a sudden they can't pay their rent, or whatever. So basically, this ring is the same as this tattoo, and you can see there's like a blood teardrop, and it's because unfortunately he had his life taken. He was outside of a hotel, and basically somebody who was getting initiated into a gang was told to stab the first, African American person they saw, and that happened to be him. And he was going to school to change his life to become a social worker. He had gone through things in the past with, drug addiction, but he was on the right path to changing his life. He had got clean, and now he was taking his weakness and turning into his strength to help other kids so that they didn't have to go down, the same path. And so the lion, I mean, just represents me as a man, and my spirit animal is also a lion. So
My spirit animal's an owl.
how
I like
come?
I like how their heads go 360. It's like I'm always watching you. A lot of people play me as a stupid. Aries are the smartest. What can I say?
I'm a Cancer.
I get along very well with cancers. My mom is a cancer. You know, misunderstood sign. People who are tenacious and no matter what, always will come on top. But they're always seen as like, people you could push over and stuff. And it's like, no, I don't think so. You're the walking legend. So
100%.
one thing I've been dying to ask you, I know it's gonna come like totally left field. Um, what would you say is like the best workout move for somebody who's more solitary and doesn't really like move around a lot? Since you're into bodybuilding.
You mean from home or at the
Yeah,
gym?
yeah, home. Like
Hmm.
the best, like most effective, like you'll see results since you're into that stuff.
I would I would have to say, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but one thing I use is called an ab lounge because of my current situation. I can't
Hmm.
just do sit-ups on the floor because number one, I mean, it hurts your back to do it. So
Oh
I use
God,
something
you with
called an
sit-ups.
ab lounge, and it's basically like a chair that sits like this. So you sit in it
Uh-huh.
and you can go back like that, and it
Oh.
supports your back completely. And so it's not just working the front of your abs, it's working your obliques and everything. I used it back in high school, and I mean, I'm not making any claims, but these were my results. So basically
No,
I used
good.
it back in high school, and I went from not having any six pack back then to literally it was probably between 3 and 4 months to having, full blown six pack.
Wow.
And I wasn't eating any different or anything like that. I was just using that 10 minutes a day.
Probably, the working out is good for your spine with you walking and stuff because if your core is strong, you could at least support yourself up a little bit more. Me with sit-ups, my weight is not evenly distributed, so my feet come up. I have to use a weight on my feet. So I think my favorite would be, do you know star planks? Okay,
I know what
so
a plank is.
okay, so
So
I can't do a normal plank because I have an ulnar nerve problem. So I do just like this, and regular, and you just put your hands under and then back up. It's really good again for the obliques, middle abs, everything. But damn, those sit-ups, no,
yeah,
no, sir.
I remember having to do those in like high school in gym class, and it was, like the worst experience.
Yes, I actually had to do the same thing in ninth grade before deciding to do online. And, the pacer test, the sit ups, the push ups, and everything. Um, the one thing that always bothered me, I know might come out weird, I don't feel like people put in 100. Like, I honestly took it very seriously. I was pre diabetic and all this stuff. So, like, working out and eating right was important to me. And these bitches could care less. And it's like, I don't respect that. I
I mean,
simply don't.
health is wealth. I saw a question pop up earlier and I haven't answered it. So someone asked me, would I ever go vegan? And it's funny they asked me that because I did that, I think it was about a year ago. I only lasted probably about a month, and then it was literally right before, yeah, it was right before I got in the second car accident. And then basically I went to see my grandma. So my grandmother, she's gonna be 103 in
Ooh,
June.
okay.
So I
Claps to that. Claps. Mm-hmm.
so
Okay.
at that time I think she was either 101 or 102. And basically, even though I was in extreme pain, I just been in a car accident, I was like, I can't miss her birthday. Like I can't do it. I have to force myself and do whatever it takes. And basically I ended